Welcome back to the channel. Today, we're diving into signs that you've started building real wealth. Roll the intro. Alright, so oftentimes, the people who look rich are usually broke, and the people who are actually rich usually look completely ordinary. I know someone who drives a 12-year-old Camry, lives in a modest house, and wears Target clothes. Net worth? $2.3 million. I know someone else who leases a Range Rover, lives in a luxury apartment, and wears designer everything. Net worth? -$80,000. The difference? Invisible wealth markers. Habits and behaviors that build real wealth but don't show up on Instagram. Today, I'm breaking down 8 signs you're secretly getting rich that nobody can see. Let me tell you about Benny. She works a normal corporate job, drives a Honda Accord from 2012, brings leftovers for lunch in Tupperware, wears professional clothes from Target and Kohl's. If you saw Benny, you'd think, comfortable middle class, probably has $50,000 saved. Benny has $1.7 million in investment accounts, owns her home outright, could retire tomorrow. Now let me tell you about Frank. Same company, drives a leased BMW for $850 a month, wears a watch that cost more than Frank's entire wardrobe, constantly talks about his investment strategies and early retirement plans. Frank has $11,000 in savings and $42,000 in credit card debt. He'll be working until he's 70 if he's lucky. Benny looks broke. She's rich. Frank looks rich. He's drowning. This inversion, where the people who appear wealthy are often broke, while the people who appear ordinary are millionaires, is one of the most important financial truths nobody talks about. Sign 1. You choose inconvenience to preserve capital. Wealthy builders deliberately pick harder, slower, less comfortable options because those options save money that compounds. Patricia packs her lunch not because she can't afford restaurants. She did the math. $12 per day on lunch, 5 days a week, 50 weeks a year equals $3,000 annually. Invested over 20 years at 8% returns, that daily lunch becomes $137,000. The inconvenience of packing food is a $137,000 decision disguised as a minor daily annoyance. The same calculation applies to making coffee at home instead of Starbucks, taking the train instead of Uber, repairing clothes instead of replacing them. Each choice seems trivial, but wealth builders understand that financial outcomes are determined by thousands of trivial choices compounding in the same direction over decades. If you pack your lunch while your coworkers eat out, you're not being cheap. You're being wealthy. You just can't see it yet. Sign 2. Your first dollars go to assets, not lifestyle. The median retirement account for Americans aged 45 to 54 is $135,000. But within that median are 2 completely different groups. Group A, prioritized visible consumption. Nice cars, nice clothes, nice vacations. Retirement savings, $40,000. Group B, prioritized invisible accumulation. Normal cars, normal clothes, normal vacations. Retirement savings, $800,000. From the outside, these groups look the same. Similar houses, similar jobs, similar lives. But one group directed their first dollars to index funds and real estate. The other directed their first dollars to lifestyle upgrades. The silent accumulators didn't announce their investments on social media. They didn't talk about their portfolio at parties. They just quietly, consistently moved money from income to assets, while everyone else moved money from income to consumption. If your savings rate is 20% or higher while your coworkers are at 5%, you're not missing out. You're building invisible wealth. Sign 3. You consistently choose future security over immediate pleasure. This is the most invisible marker because no one sees the purchases you don't make. The car upgrade you declined, the vacation you postponed, the lifestyle inflation you resisted. The Stanford Marshmallow study showed that kids who could delay gratification had better financial outcomes as adults. But this isn't a fixed trait. It's a muscle you build. People with invisible wealth have trained themselves to feel the pull of immediate desire and choose to wait anyway. Not because waiting is easy, because they've internalized that every dollar consumed today is a dollar that can't compound tomorrow. Your coworker upgrades their car every 3 years. You drive yours for 10. They think you're stuck. You're compounding an extra $500 a month they'll never have. If you can see something you want, afford it, and still choose not to buy it, you have the most important wealth-building skill. And nobody will ever know. Sign 4. You're building income sources nobody knows about. IRS data shows people with multiple income sources have significantly higher net worth than those relying on one. The side business nobody at the office knows about. The rental property generating cash flow you never mention. The dividend portfolio quietly paying you every quarter. These second, third, and fourth income streams don't show on your clothes or your car. They only show on your balance sheet. I know someone who works a normal $75,000 job. Nobody knows he also has 3 rental properties generating $2,400 a month in cash flow and a consulting side business making another $1,500 a month. His coworkers think he makes $75,000. He actually makes $122,000. But you'd never know by looking at him. If you have income your coworkers don't know about, you're not hiding anything. You're just refusing to perform wealth while you're busy building it. Sign 5. You turn dead time into productive time. The average American spends 41 minutes per day commuting. That's 250 hours per year. Over 6 full work weeks spent in a car or train. Wealth builders turn this into education time. Audiobooks, podcasts, industry courses, language learning. While everyone else is scrolling Instagram during their commute, you're compounding knowledge that will compound into income later. The same applies to waiting rooms, lunch breaks, and the gaps between meetings most people waste refreshing email. You're not being productive to be productive. You're treating your attention as an asset that can either be spent or invested. If you finished 30 books last year through audiobooks during your commute while your coworkers finished 0, you're building invisible intellectual capital that will show up in your earnings in ways they'll never connect. Sign 6. You spend time alone thinking about your money, not anxiously checking balances, strategically evaluating your trajectory. People building invisible wealth schedule time to review finances, to course correct, to ensure daily behaviors align with long-term goals. A 2019 study found that people who regularly reviewed their financial plans were significantly more likely to be on track for retirement. The review costs nothing. It looks like nothing. Just a person sitting quietly with a spreadsheet. But it compounds into dramatically different outcomes over decades. Your coworker has never looked at their 401k since they signed up. You review your portfolio quarterly and rebalance annually. That invisible habit is the difference between retiring at 55 and retiring at 70. If you have a monthly money date with yourself where you review spending, check progress, and adjust strategy, you're doing what millionaires do. It just doesn't look like anything. Sign 7. You invest in skills that increase earning capacity. A Georgetown study found the lifetime earnings gap between someone with in-demand skills and someone without exceeds $1 million. Wealthy builders spend money on books, courses, certifications, and training that enhance their ability to earn. Not expensive MBAs for status. Specific skills that directly increase their hourly rate. The person spending $300 on a course that increases their rate by $10 per hour earns that back in 30 hours and profits forever after. I spent $2,000 on a sales training course in 2021. It increased my income by $15,000 that year, and every year since. That's a 750% return in year 1, and it keeps paying. If you spent more on education last year than on entertainment, you're building invisible human capital that your peers are ignoring. Sign 8. Your lifestyle hasn't caught up to your income. This is the ultimate invisible wealth marker. You got a $20,000 raise 2 years ago. Your spending barely changed. That extra $20,000 went straight to investments. Your coworker got the same raise. They immediately upgraded their apartment, leased a nicer car, and started eating out more. From the outside, you look the same as before. They look more successful. In reality, you're saving an extra $1,500 per month. They're saving $0 more than before. Over 10 years, your unchanged lifestyle plus invested raises equals $250,000 in wealth they'll never have. The person who looks the same after a raise is often the person building the most wealth. They just refuse to signal it. If you're making more than you did 5 years ago, but living like you still make the old amount, you're doing it right. Even though it looks like you're doing nothing. Here's what nobody tells you about these 8 markers. You might already have several of them. You might be packing lunch, investing first, delaying purchases, and quietly building wealth without fanfare. And if you're doing these things, you're not behind. You're building invisible wealth exactly the way it actually works. The problem? Society doesn't celebrate these behaviors. No one gives you a trophy for eating leftovers. No one applauds when you drive a paid-off car. No one notices when you invest $500 instead of spending it. The visible markers of success are everywhere. Instagram posts, luxury ads, coworkers showing off purchases. The invisible markers of actual wealth receive no recognition, which makes it easy to feel like you're failing when you're actually succeeding. Quietly building the kind of wealth that will matter when it matters most. The person who looks impressive today is often the person who'll be desperate in 20 years. The person who looks ordinary today often has the freedom the impressive-looking person can't imagine. Stop measuring yourself against what you see. Start measuring yourself against what actually matters. You're building real wealth. It's just invisible right now. Drop a comment with how many of these 8 you have. Be honest. I'll tell you if you're on track. And subscribe if you want more content that shows you what wealth actually looks like versus what it pretends to be. See you next week. Keep building.